What's up, everyone? Welcome into the Bat Flip episode 5. We're getting up there in age. Talking about Tennessee and their huge series win over Florida. I'm Landon Raby. With me, Dylan Taylor. Want to introduce our sponsors real quick: Tennessee Tap House, Hound Dogs, and Blue Water Climbing Control. Here is a word from our good friends at Blue Water Climbing Control, so check them out.
People always ask, where did we get the name Blue Water Climate Control? When a Navy ship casts off lines, exits the harbor, and loses sight of land, that's blue water sailing. It takes a team of people to do that. Tireless work, focus, and attention to detail. So much of starting a business is just like that. After it's done, you get filled with deep satisfaction for accomplishing something, and it's quickly followed by, now the real work begins. We're Blue Water Climate Control.
All right, we're back. Let's get right into it. Another grinded out series win for Tennessee. Speaking of grinding out, you saw that Saturday. I mean, that's all you can describe it as. Having one hit going into the sixth inning. They walked four straight batters, able to get good at bats and get three hits with two outs, and that was kind of the only inning you really needed to get the win and get the series win over Florida. The first time winning your first four SEC series for the first time since 1970. For those of you that are bad at math, that's 51 years. That's quite a big milestone for the Vols. Consensus top five team in the country right now. I think it's huge, and it's only going to get bigger as you head into this next weekend series against Vanderbilt. They're a number two team in the country. That atmosphere is going to be electric. I thought the atmosphere was electric, and especially Friday and Saturday. Sunday, you lost that game, so you can't really look at it as electric. But that place, Lindsey Nelson was rocking. So what was kind of your takeaways on the weekend against Florida?
Yeah, I mean, starting that Sunday, I mean, it's kind of good the energy was low just because you already had the series wrapped up. Then you want it packed and loud, but it's good to go into a Sunday game like that against a team like Florida and already have the series in hand. And now, of course, I've stated my intense hatred for anything Florida related before, so I was dying for the sweep there. But I mean, yeah, just it's like you said, it was a grinded out series win. Any SEC series is going to be, and I mean that's the best team we've played all year. Not even close to it, really. I think, but it's the big test is this weekend now, and it seems like every test that's come up so far, it's we've passed it with flying colors. So excited! You've got this is the benchmark this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned this. This is the best team we played all year. I mean, those are two of the biggest wins that I've seen at Lindsey Nelson in a long time, and especially as a home series win, that's probably the biggest one in a long time. Getting the win over a historic program like Florida, who's always in the national conversation when it comes to baseball. I thought on the weekend, I thought Chad Dallas he shoved it number one,
Yeah.
but he kind of set the tone for the whole weekend with his performance. He had a lot of family there; they're all in their cheese hats, so that was cool to see him have a career night. Going 7 innings, 11 strikeouts. He got the case for queso all by himself, so that was really cool to see and just kind of jumpstart the weekend. Hats off to Frank Anderson and his pitching staff. I think I said a lot the past couple weeks, but they just continue to impress me. Their starting pitchers are continuing to get to give them a chance to win at the end of games, and I think that's all you can ask for performances like that. They gave up some hits, some runs, but they continue to battle, continue to compete, and that's why they're able to grind out a series win. So, who's kind of some guys that really impressed you this weekend?
Yeah, you took it from me right there. I mean, it's Chad Dallas. I think he was my pick last week. I mean, 5-0 on the year right now. Um, I mean, he's just the consistent presence that you need at the start of a series like that. He's just the guy that's going to get it done. I mean, it may not be the prettiest way, it may not be the most exciting way, but he just gets it done against everybody so far. So, I mean, Dallas was the main one to me, but it was good to see, and we'll get into it later. But good to see Max Ferguson hitting the ball again. That's somebody that you've got to get going. I think we talked about it last show, and I mean he's looks like he's entering in, just starting a hot streak right now. So that's going to be awesome if he's still rolling like. this against Vandy this weekend. Those are probably the two main guys that stick out to me.
Yeah, and some guys that struggled here to start the season have kind of had a good series against Florida. You mentioned Ferguson. He had a huge bunt to kind of kickstart his entire weekend. He had a couple hits on the weekend, and then that momentum carried over into that game against Western Carolina, where he goes 4 for 4 with 6 RBIs, a home run. Two-run singles that were huge, just a triple away from the cycle. So yeah, I think, and then Connor Pavoloni also had a pretty good weekend. He's been struggling a little bit, and both those guys are preseason All-Americans to begin the season, and just haven't had the season they have liked up to this point. But it'd be awesome to see those guys get going. I mentioned Connor Pavoloni. He had a big hit on Saturday with 2 outs, and then had a bomb, absolute missile against Florida on Sunday. That was big and kept them in the game. And then Luke Lipsius, I thought, hit the ball pretty well this weekend. He had the lone extra base hit on Saturday, kind of blooped in a little double, and got the little belly rub as he, got second base. And then Evan Russell, a guy that continues to get better and better as the season goes. And he had, I forget what he went on the series, 4 for 10, sorry, and home run, 2 doubles, and he on Sunday he got the little Bob's Burgers little twerk there. So I don't know who I'm picking MVP yet. We're about to get there, but I think it's huge for those guys to really get going, and I think that just increases Tennessee's confidence as they go into Vanderbilt. A guy like Drew Gilbert didn't have the series that he wanted. Obviously, you kind of struggled a little bit, but those guys were able to pick him up, kind of pick up the slack a little bit, and really help Tennessee get that series win. Also, a guy that really impressed me was Kirby Connell.
Yeah,
the man's just electric. He's got swag.
Oh, yeah.
He's got the flow. He's got the stash. I don't know if it's catching on, but I like the Captain Hook.
Guys, I saw the Captain Hook. I saw volley fingers, which I love. That's electric.
That's pretty cool.
I mean, he's he's another guy to me. He's like Chad Dallas. He doesn't have the overpowering stuff, but he finds a way to sit you down, and he's going to let you know about it a little bit after he does. And it's kind of the mindset of this whole team. I mean, I mean, you put it the best. He's electric. Like he's probably. I mean, you love watching Tidwell work, but he's probably my favorite pitcher when he comes in, just because he's going to get it done.
Yeah. You mentioned him being electric, and I just think the energy of this team is just something different that I've seen before, and I've been watching Tennessee baseball for a long time now. Even when they strike out, they're not going to go in there and throw everything and cry and stuff like that, but it does mean something to them. They're not just walking by and like, I'll get it hit next time. They're mad, they're upset. They got deep in that count. They have a 10 pitch at bat, and it makes them mad when they're don't get it done. So I like to see the energy.
And the thing that stuck out to me all year, I've mentioned, or I've tried to mention it before, was the you mentioned that it does matter to them. They do show a little emotion in situations like that, but I love that they keep their composure. I've noticed all year that it's like when a guy gets sat down on either strikeout looking or swinging, either way, kind of gets fooled a little bit. I've noticed all year that when they're walking back to the dugout, they go by the on deck circle. They're talking to the guy that's going up to the plate right then, telling, "Hey, I saw this. Here's what he's looking at." So it's just little things like that I've noticed that doesn't seem like much. A lot of times the camera doesn't catch something like that. They've cut away back to the picture then normally. But I mean, it's little stuff like that just it's Tony Vitello. I mean, he starts it at the top with stuff like that, and you see guys coaching each other now, keeping each other up. So I mean, it's contagious when that happens.
Yeah, I mean, you saw he has like 3 last names. It's like something Van Terry or something like that. Florida's
Vander Wide something.
Yeah, something like that. You saw him go into the dugout and throw his glove. Tennessee's pissing people off, and I like it. Even Sunday, Florida was down a little bit, and they tried to send a runner from home, or send a runner home from second. Well, Evan Russell had the ball before he even got to third
Yeah.
base. He was out by a mile. So that third base coach, I mean, I think he wanted to beat Tennessee pretty bad, but man, he looked horrendous on
Oh
Sunday.
yeah.
You know,
Not even close.
luckily they come out with the win, but you know, and then they celebrated like they
Yeah.
won the College World Series after they just lost the series. So you know,
Congrats, you
whatever.
didn't get swept.
Yeah, exactly. But I thought Tennessee kind of cleaned it up a little bit this weekend. I mentioned last weekend how they left 31 runners on base, only 20 runners left on base this weekend. That's probably not the number that Tony Vitello and that staff likes, but it's still a lot better than 31.
Oh
So
yeah.
cleaning that up a little bit. Also, the errors had 5 errors last week against Alabama, and then this weekend I only had one error. So you know, cleaning things up a little bit. I think seeing them kind of compete and then getting improving from weekend to weekend, I think that's really cool to see. So do you want to talk about the Western Carolina game? That was kind of a game you're like, yeah, you scored 14 runs, but they also scored 12.
I mean, I know I heard the stat or read it that they came into the country leading the entire country. I think in runs per game. I think they floated like around 9.5, 9 runs. You don't you don't want to see them hit that mark against the what we're at now, 3, 4, 5, depending on what poll you look at. I mean, you kind of want to keep them under that 9 runs per game. Don't let them increase it. I mean, it's those middle of the week games are so hard to judge just because I mean you don't have several of your starters playing that you're getting them rest. You're getting guys like Jackson Greer. Shout out Jackson Greer with a couple big hits this week or in the Western Carolina game. You're getting guys like that, Kyle Booker playing time that's going to pay off. So I mean, you want to be nervous that it's a 14-12 game in Western Carolina. You got the dub. That's all that matters. But I mean, I don't put too much stock into it just because you want to go into with the same mindset if you want to crush the team every time, but you're also not playing a few of your starters for good reasons. So good to get the win. I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, you know, you mentioned the runs. You definitely don't want to see that, but you know, you're pitching guys who aren't your normal pitchers. You know, guys getting some extra work in, and they're pretty much going 1 inning and then they're gone, unless
Yeah.
they get into trouble or you know something else happens. It's 1 inning and pretty much gone. So they're not really able to get in a flow of things. So that's difficult for a pitcher. Um, but you know, I think Tennessee will take it. Will take it a 2-run win over Western Carolina if it means Max Ferguson gets going and becomes that preseason All American that you know he was awarded before the season.
I'll say I would rather have that game than a 7-0 win over Arkansas Pine Bluff, something like that. I'd rather have that kind of game before the Vanderbilt series, just because you had to keep the bats going, or you would have lost that game. So,
Hey, you got to stay awake.
yeah, it was a good. I mean, you look at it, it kind of gives you a little anxiety, but I looked at it as kind of a positive. That was a good test between Vanderbilt. That didn't give the guys really a chance to get laid back, I guess you could say. I mean, that's Tuesday, and now we're coming up tomorrow. You've got the start of the Vanderbilt series. So I personally, I think it was more of a positive.
Yeah, absolutely. I do too. And you scored in all but the first inning. So you know there's offensively there's not a lot to complain about. You know, definitely pitching wise but then again that should get fixed over time. And you know,
Right.
with the track record that or Frank Anderson has, it'll be okay. So let's talk about MVP for this past weekend. Or I guess we can include the week if you know they did well in that game. So who you got?
Yeah, I mean, I got to go Fergie. I mean, it was good to see Pav get that bomb. I think he's been due for one for a while now, especially here lately.
That's
It's
the
like
hardest one to get out of the way. Is that first one?
oh yeah, yeah, exactly. And he's been all over it the last couple of games. It looks like at the beginning of the season, it looked like he was off, but then you could see that it was going to be coming anytime now. So good for him. Hope that one gets him going, especially against a team like Vanderbilt. Good to see Jackson Greer behind him, though. As I mentioned, that showed he could drive in a few runs too. I think he's been a quality addition to the team this year. But yeah, I mean, I got to go Fergie just because you've been waiting on it. You expected it before the year, and now it's finally here. Hope he can keep it going.
Yeah, and I kind of like having this problem going into, kind of picking which guy to choose because you could pick a lot of guys. You could pick a Chad Dallas. Liam Spence just gets on base. That's all that man does. So, you could go with him night in and night out, and no one would bat an eye. He drew 5 walks, was 3 for 7 in the series. So, I mean, another solid weekend from him. I'm going to
Mid-season
go.
Golden Spikes Award watch list too. So I
Oh,
got
yeah,
added to
I
that.
forgot about that. Yeah. So, I mean, going into the season, I'll be honest, I didn't think he would be one of the best players on Tennessee's team. But,
In the SEC too, yeah. I mean,
yeah, here we are.
leading in a couple categories.
Absolutely. So, yeah, good to see that, Mr. Reliable Liam Spence. But I'm going to go Evan Russell, a guy that was, kind of struggled going into the past couple weekends. He got hot against LSU, and, he kind of struggled a little bit against Alabama, but, picked it back up. He was 4 for 10 in the series against Florida. Home run, 2 doubles, threw a guy out at home. Also did a great job in the field when balls get hit to the wall. It seems like pretty much every occasion, unless it's just a speedster, he's keeping that guy from extra bases. So I think that's really good to see. And, it's not going to show up in a stat category or anything like that, but I think it definitely helps Tennessee out, especially in this series when it was so tight. I think every base kind of counts. And for him to save a couple bases, I think that's huge for Tennessee.
Had one big throw like that. I don't remember if it was I want to say 6th, 7th inning that kept a runner on first base that I thought for sure was a double. So yeah, I noticed that too on one of those plays. He's showing off the cannon here lately.
Yeah, absolutely. So you want to get into Vanderbilt, or do you have anything else you got for this weekend series?
Hate Florida, love to beat them. That's about it.
Absolutely.
Same with Vanderbilt.
Yeah, hate Vandy. God, I'll just never forget like going to Vanderbilt, not baseball but football, and just seeing like I just despise them for some
Yeah.
reason. I don't know why. I hate their colors. I hate their stadium. Just kind of everything about Vanderbilt just makes me mad. So
Quick off topic, who is your least favorite team to play? Not necessarily just baseball, but any SEC. Is it Vandy?
probably all sports. It's probably Florida.
Yeah.
Just because
Okay.
I think we're kind of, I don't want to say we're even, but our it seems like it's a pretty hard fought series and whatever or games and whatever we're playing them at. So yeah, probably Florida.
Yeah, I got to go with
But
Florida.
I think that's a good thing. You don't want Vanderbilt to be your biggest rival, even though some people say that. They shouldn't be.
Yeah,
In baseball, that's okay to say, but not in every sport.
right. Yeah, football, that's sign of the times, but we're looking
Right.
up right now. Spring game in 2 weeks.
And mention, if people were a little worried about that Western Carolina win, I do want to remind you Vanderbilt beat Eastern Kentucky 6-4. So it's not like they just demolished their midweek game either. So, I'd rather score 14 runs than 6. So
Yeah, scoring 14 is not you're not going to take a loss there too often.
yeah, I'm super excited for this series coming up. The number 2 team, number 3 team, kind of facing off at home. I think the atmosphere, I think it's going to be rocking. It was rocking this past weekend against Florida. I think there's even more to it, and you're letting more people in apparently. So I think that's huge for the city of Knoxville, who Tony Vitello described as a sleeping giant when it comes to this fan base in baseball.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you're seeing it. I know within the last few days they put out or they put in their official request to host the regional. With playing at right now, the way we're playing, I mean, I don't know how you don't get a Knoxville regional this year, which you get that, and there's no telling how far this team can go.
Oh man, it's going to be
it
so fun.
Starts with Vandy. I mean, we mentioned it before the show. You're going to have Kumar Rocker shoving it at you on Friday night, and then I'll be there Saturday. You got Jack Leiter coming up then. So, I mean, there's not a better 1-2 punch in college baseball that we've seen this year. I mean, Arkansas has been solid, but I mean, there's not a better test than that. So you better come prepared.
Yeah, and Tennessee showed this year that they're not scared of anybody. They're not scared of Kamar Rocker, Jack Leiter. I think they kind of see that matchup as a challenge, and kind of excited for it because these are guys that are going to be in the major leagues one day. Pitching, being somebody's ace, being the second, third round pick. So to say you got a couple hits, even a home run off some of those guys, I think that would be, that's what you live for. So, I'm, like I said, I'm super excited for this series. I think Vanderbilt, they probably come in here hungry. They lost to Georgia, a team they probably shouldn't have lost to, and Georgia kind of whooped them in the games that they won.
Rocker got roughed up on Friday night. I think seven total bombs. Now I don't think all were off him, but
I think 3
total.
were on him. But yeah, 7 total. I mean, good God, I don't know where that was when we played Georgia, but I'm glad we didn't see it. That was. But I guess when you're throwing at that velocity, like if you get a hold of one, it's going somewhere.
Close your eyes and swing hard.
Yep. I mean, in a short field like Tennessee has, and right and left, there you go. I mean, Drew Gilbert, if you want out of your funk a little bit, here's the way to do it.
I just, as soon as you said that, I imagined a Drew Gilbert bat flip off Rocker on Friday night. And
that would be perfect.
I'm just ready to hear the crowd.
But yeah, I think, Tennessee's not going to shy away from it. This is the best team that you've played all season in Vanderbilt with Jack Leiter, Kamar Rocker. But I think if you jump on them in the hurry, it doesn't seem like they have much fight left in them. They're not used to coming back in the games. They're not, those two guys aren't used to getting rocked. I think they both had 12 or 13 strikeouts apiece. But, when you're giving up 3 bombs, I don't know like what solo shots or whatever, but, those are big runs, and Vanderbilt I don't think is just hitting the ball as well as they'd like to. So I think you have a real shot this weekend to make some noise. And if people are doubting you a little bit because we haven't had to play Arkansas, Ole Miss, Mississippi State, teams like that yet up to this point. So maybe teams do doubt you a little bit. So prove them wrong.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Vanderbilt there. I mean, their lineup doesn't scare me nearly as much as the staff does. I mean, I don't see any reason why Chad Dallas can't go out there and do what he just did the last, against Florida. What he did last weekend. I mean, he's 5-0 in the year. He's done it in just about every start. I know he got roughed up against Bama a little bit, but that's another opportunity to set the tone. Chad Dallas and Kumar Rocker. I mean, it's. We can sit them down. I know we can, but you got to.
Yeah, I mean, lineups like LSU and even Florida. Those two. I'd be more scared of those lineups than I am Vanderbilt right now. Not to say that they can't hit it because I think they can, but going 9 batters where 9 guys can go yard at any moment. I just don't think Vanderbilt has that this season.
And you've got Arkansas against Texas A&M this weekend. So I mean, depending on what happens there, I mean, you never know what happens with this weekend. I mean, are you looking at a top-ranked Tennessee team by the next time? Next week.
That'd be insane.
Yeah, I mean, number 1 in the country going in after a Vanderbilt series. I mean, you can't ask for any better. Can't go any higher than that.
Absolutely. Guys, if you're going, be loud, be proud. It's going to be a great weekend. I think the weather is supposed to be kind of nice. I got burnt up on Sunday. It was windy and like 70, but I got fried. My legs are still red.
I got a little bit of that golf in the day. It was, I think it's supposed to be, I think I checked earlier, Knoxville on Saturday, it's mid-60s. And I think the game starts at 4 Saturday. So, that's prime time then. You'll be nice weather.
Absolutely. Do you got anything else for this coming up weekend?
Ready to see it. Amped up.
Absolutely. Well, here we go. All right, guys. Well, we appreciate you listening in. I hope you all have a great week, great weekend. The good news has been coming in for Tennessee lately, so hopefully we can keep that going this weekend on the Diamond. Here's another word from our good friends at Blue Water Climate Control.
People always ask, where did we get the name Blue Water Climate Control? When a Navy ship casts off lines, exits the harbor, and loses sight of land, that's blue water sailing. It takes a team of people to do that. Tireless work, focus, and attention to detail. So much of starting a business is just like that. After it's done, you get filled with deep satisfaction for accomplishing something, and it's quickly followed by, now the real work begins. We're Blue Water Climate Control.
Thank y'all. Have a good week. Go Vols. Vandy sucks.